Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss in detail about process costing, illustration sum number 8, loss in weight, scrap, etc., vegetable oil refining. Let's read the question. Etc. means what? Byproduct items. Okay. So the following details are extracted from the costing records of Biology Oil Mill for the year ended 31st March 2010. Purchases of 500 tons of copra rupees 2 lakhs. Okay, before that, what is meant by copra? What they given here? 500 copra purchased 510 at rupees 2 lakh. Okay, copra means nothing but dried coconut used to extract the coconut oil. Okay, so dried coconut cut and dried. The coconut make it dried and cut. Okay, the dried inner white part of the coconut called as copra. Okay, the biology oil mill, the copra is crushed to produces the coconut oil. Making the coconut oil, they crushed the copra, which means white coconut, dried coconut. Okay, the remaining waste is called as copra residue or oil cake. Okay, let's read the question. What are they given here? The biology oil mill purchases 500 tons of copra, that means coconut, dried coconut, and cut it. They making the coconut oil. For preparing the coconut oil, during crushing, refining, and finishing, they make three processes. Okay, the cost is given here. While during the three processes, the cost of labor, electric power, sundry materials, steam, repairs of machinery, factory expenses, cost of the cask. What is meant by cask? Cask is nothing but oil stored container. It may be metal or wood. Okay. So the cost of cask rupees 7,500. 300 tons of crude oil were produced. 250 tons of oil were produced by the refining process. 248 tons of refined oil were finished for delivery. Copra sacks for sold for, what is meant by sacks? That means gunny bag. No. Copra sacks sold for rupees 400. 175 tons of copra residue. What is meant by residue? It means coconut cake, no? Punnak like that. Okay. So 175 tons of copra residue sold for rupees 11,000. Loss in weight in crushing 25 tons and 48 tons of byproduct obtained from the refining process rupees 6,750. Okay. What we do now? First, we are going to start with the process one. That means the crushing process. We are going to prepare the crushing process account. Okay. So apart from that information, they have given the additional information. What they asked us to prepare, you are required to show the accounts in respect of each of the following stages. So how many stages here? There are three stages. What are they? Crushing, refining, and finishing process. Okay. So we need to show the three processes. What are the stages they have given? We need to show the three manufacturing stages for the purpose of arriving at the cost per ton. They need to we are going to prepare cost per ton at the end of the each process. Okay, each process and the total per ton of the finishing oil. How much after the raw material they go through three process. At the end of the finished product, how much tons of oil they prepared, biology oil mill prepared. Okay, we need to show them. Okay, so first one, copra. What are the accounts we need to open? Copra crushing process, refining process, and the finishing process, including casking. Okay, so accordingly, first account we are going to prepare copra crushing process account. Okay, so listen, how much ton they purchases? They purchased 500 tons of copra at rupees how much? 2 lakhs. Okay. First of all, the input items we need to enter. Okay. On debtor side, copra used 500 tons. The cost is 2 lakhs rupees they purchased for 500 tons. What are the cost they utilized during the crushing process. They used during the crushing process cost of labor, electric power, sundry materials, steam, repairs of machinery, factory expenses accordingly to 2500 rupees, 600 rupees, 100 rupees, 600 rupees, 280 rupees, 1320 rupees. They spend the cost for preparing the crushing process. Okay, so all the cost you are going to enter on debtor side. Okay, these are the expenses for using the crushing process. All the cost we entered. Okay, now we need to make the total 500 tons input. All the cost after we added, you will get 2,05,400 cost they spend while crushing. Right, the total will be entered on both the side. Can you see the book? Okay. Okay, let's see. So after crushing, what they get, the loss in weight in crushing 25 tons. Listen, can you see? Loss in weight in crushing, how much tons? 25 tons. During the crushing, the copra, usually we get the wastage, that loss in weight. Okay, so the loss in weight during the crushing, how much tons they get? 25 tons. It's like a loss. Okay, loss in weight. So you are going to enter on credit side by loss in weight rupees 25 tons during crushing. Okay, then how much? Listen, the copra socks were sold for 400. That means gunny bag, right? So after crushing, what they get the residue. With that residue, they make the copra socks. They sold that copra socks, that crushing material, residue material. How much rupees? 400 rupees. It is to be entered on credit side of the crushing process account by sales of copra socks 400 rupees. Okay, then how much residue they get after crushing the copra? They get 175 tons of copra residue. Okay, that residue also they sold at rupees 11,000. Okay, so we are going to write that 11,000 rupees here. Okay, listen, by sale of copra residue, how much tons? 175 tons. How much they sold? How much rupees they sold? 11,000 rupees. Okay. So at the end of the crushing process account, we need to find out the output of tons. They introduced 500 tons. Okay. Okay. After crushing the process, how much output they get? How much cost? How much total cost they spend at the end of the crushing process. Okay, copra crushing process. Okay, so we already calculated the total on both the side. Listen, how much loss they get during crushing? 25 tons. How much residue they get? 175. 175 plus 25, how much? You will get 200 tons loss in weight plus residue. Okay, so out of the 300, we will subtract 200 from 500. You will get 300 refining process, which means out input 10 500. After crushing the process, they get the output ton is 300 rupees, 300 tons. Okay, similarly we will calculate the net total. Okay, 11,000 plus 400, 11,400 will be subtracted from 2 lakh 5,400. You will get 1 lakh 94,000 rupees. Okay. Now, so how much output tons they get? That output tons will be transferred to next process. Next process name is refining process. Okay. So you are against this value you are going to write refining process because it will be transferred to the refining process. Only you are going to write the refining process account. Now we are going to find out the cost per ton. How much cost for per ton they spent. So for that you are going to calculate 1,94,000. That means the total cost divided by output tons. After calculated, cancelled, you will get 646 rupees 67 paise per ton they spent for crushing the copra process. Okay, so now we finished the completed copra crushing process account. Then we are going to prepare refining process account, right? So in refining process account, what the work we are going to do first of all, we are taken the output copra tank, crushing copra tank from the crushing copra, taken from transfer to input ton in a refining process. So we transferred to that output 300 tons will be transferred. Okay, then the cost also, total cost also comes along with that output tons. Okay, 1,94,000 entered. After that, how much cost they spent for refining the copra process? Okay, okay, listen. They spend the cost for refining process, the cost of labor 1000 rupees, electric power 360, sundry materials 2000, steam 450, repairs of machinery 330, factory expenses is 660 rupees. They spent all the cost will be entered on debtor side. Okay, be entered. Okay, then if they get any losses during the refining process, yes, of course they get a loss in weight. Okay, listen, during refining processes they get the loss. 45 tons of byproduct obtained from the refining process, they sold that uh, residue during the refining process. How much? 45 tons. It will be converted into the byproduct. That byproduct will be sold. How much? Rupees 6,750. Okay, it will be entered on credit side. Okay, so the sale of byproduct, how much? 45 tons. The sold amount is 6,750. Okay, listen carefully. How much loss they get? Listen, the at the end of the refining process they will get 250 finished process. How will you get 250 tons? They get the finished process. They have given in the question. Listen, 250 tons of oil were produced by refining process. They give the clear explanation. So out of 300 tons crude oil, they will get, after the refining process, at the end of the refining process, they will get 250 tons of finishing process, which means refining process. Refining process, they will get 250 tons. Okay, so you are going to write 250 tons refining process. Listen, how much they sold? 45 tons of byproduct they sold. Okay, so listen, 250 plus 45, how much? 295 tons. Okay, 295 tons out of 300 tons. They introduced 300 tons crude oil here. Okay, at the end of the refining process, they get 250 tons of refining oil and 45 tons were byproduct were sold. Okay, added with that together, you will get 295 tons of oil. Okay, out of 300, how much loss in weight? 5 tons of loss in weight. Okay, we will subtract 295 from 300, you will get 5 tons. That 5 tons is considered as a loss in weight. Got it? So come to here, how much byproduct you sold? Rupees 6,750. You will subtract 6,750 from total value 1,98,800. You will get 1,92,050 rupees. Okay, so now we are going to find, against this value you are going to write finishing process account. Why? Because it will be transferred to next account. Next account name is finishing account, finishing process. So for that you are going to write finishing process account. Now we are going to find out cost per ton. Okay, so for that you are going to calculate a total cost divided by 10. Total cost is to 1,92,050 divided by 250. You will get cost per ton rupees 768.20 paise. Got it? Then what you do, you are going to prepare finishing process. Okay. First of all, you are start before which account you are going to start here in finishing process. You are transfer that 250 tons of refining oil. Along with that, you are going to take an 1,92,050 cost also you are going to take and with that output. Okay, you are going to enter here. Against this, you are going to write to refining process account because it will be taken from the refining process. So for that, you are going to write here. Now, what are the cost you are going to spend that biology oil will spend for finishing process? They spent cost of labor 1,500, electric power 240 rupees, sundry material there is no value. They didn't spend steam 450, repairs of machinery 140, factory expenses 220 rupees, all are entered here. Okay, then cost of cask. What is meant by cost of cask? After finishing that refining oil, it will be packed, right? How can they pack? They pack in tins, oil drums, like metal drums and wooden drums to store the oil. That means cask. How much they spent to store the drum? 7,500 rupees. Okay, so you are going to write the cost. The cost of cask would be 7,500 entered at the finishing process. Okay, so then you are going to calculate the total 250 tons of finished oil. Then all the cost you are getting, how much cost they spent? 2,02,100 rupees. Okay, then 248. Listen, 248 tons of oil were produced. Sorry, 248 tons of refined oil were finished for delivery. Okay, how much oil for refined for were finished for delivery? 248 tons of refined oil for finished for delivery. Okay, so you are going to enter here. Okay, so 250 subtracted 248 tons were subtracted from 250, you will get 2 tons. That 2 tons we denoted as a loss in weight. Okay, there is no any adjustment for credit side, so the same total you are going to enter as the balancing figure, right? So 2 lakh to 2,100 rupees they spent out of finishing process. At the end of the finishing process, the total cost they spent 2 lakh 2,100. The output of the ton is 248 tons. Okay, now we are going to find out cost per ton. So for that, you are going to divide a total cost divided by output tens. Okay, you will get after divided 814 rupees and 92 paisa for cost per ton they spent. Okay, do you have any doubt? Please comment it into the comment box. Thank you. Take care.